Good day everyone, I am Omar Arenas from BSED 2C. This video reporting will be the continuation of reports of Learner-Centered Psychological Principles or the LCP. But before we will start the discussion, I just want to remind that there are activities or questions that you should answer through the use of voice messaging or type messaging. You may send your answer on this Jessy, and it will be recorded, meaning to say it is graded. So, I want your full attention and cooperation on this video reporting. Motivational and affective factors. One of the principles or the last principles for motivational and affective factors is none other than the principle 9, effects of motivation on effort. Acquisition of complex knowledge and skills requires extended learner's effort and guided practice. Without motivation to learn, the willingness to exert this effort is unlikely without coercion. Meaning to say, if a person or if a learner is motivated, they will extend efforts on doing certain tasks or activities. In addition, if the learner is motivated, they will somehow exert more efforts and they will exceed their limitations on learning. Educators need to be concerned with facilitating motivation by strategies that enhance the learner effort and commitment to learning and to achieving high standards of comprehension and understanding. Now, in terms of strategies or techniques on motivating a learner to enhance their efforts and of course their commitment in learning, some strategies and techniques that can the educators use to motivate learner is by respecting, acknowledging, valuing, accommodating, and supplementing their answers, opinions, talents, abilities, skills, capabilities, and so on. Moreover, these strategies or techniques can motivate and win your learner to enhance their efforts to get involved in the class. Effective strategies include purposeful learning activities guided by the practices that enhance positive emotion and intrinsic motivation to learn, and methods that increase learners' perception that a task is interesting and personally relevant. We have here another strategy or technique that is very effective and useful, and it is by giving them a purposeful activities and of course by giving them a properly guidance. This strategy will lead the learners on enhancing their emotions into positive and their efforts in learning. The question is, what other strategies or techniques can you use to motivate your learner to have effort and commitment on learning, and why? You may now send your answer using VM or text messaging on this Jessy before proceeding to the next topic. We will now proceeding to the third dimension or division of learner-centered psychological principle, which is developmental and social factor. Principle 10. Developmental influences on learning. As individuals develop, there are different opportunities and constraints for learning. As we notice, we have many opportunities in the teaching process, and at the same time, we have many challenges that we need to face. Especially this current situation, from the new setup of learning, which is face-to-face learning down to the online or virtual learning, the inflation of foods and gases, up to the expensive payment of public transportations. But it is stated here that learning is most effective when the differential development within and across physical, intellectual, emotional, and social domain is taken into account. Meaning to say, we need to take into account the different dimensions of development, which are the physical, intellectual, emotional, and social development on how we interact or approach other people, especially our learners. Individuals learn best when material is appropriate to their developmental level and is presented in an enjoyable and interesting way. As educators, we should know who is our target or who is our learner, because knowing your learner can give you a instant knowledge and how to properly catch their attention. Furthermore, we should use appropriate materials according to their developmental level. The cognitive, emotional, and social development of individual learners and how they interpret their life experiences are affected by prior schooling, home, culture, and community factors. As I read, learners interpret their life experiences and their development in cognitive, emotional, and social are affected by schooling, home, culture, and community. These factors have a big impact while growing a child. Children are influenced by this and somehow affects on how they explain, share, or interpret their own life, and more often, it will also affect their cognitive, emotional, and social development. Awareness and understanding of development differences among children with and without emotional, physical, or intellectual disabilities can facilitate the creation of a optimal learning context. Here, it is stated that having awareness, like to be aware and to be able to understand the developmental differences among children, can facilitate the creation of optimal learning context. And easy saying, having awareness and understanding towards the learners can have a more efficient and knowledgeable learning session in every class hours. The question is, why do you think that early involvement of parents in schooling is important? You may now send your answer using VM or text messaging on this GC before continuing the discussion. And the last principle that I will share to you is none other than Principle 11. Social influences on learning. It is also the last principle from the third dimension of LCP, which is the developmental and social factors. Learning is influenced by social interactions, interpersonal relations, and communications with others. Meaning to say, the way how learners learn can improve by using face-to-face encounter. When there is a two-way communications and affiliation between the learner and the educator, because using this method, it is easy to interact, exchanging insights and knowledge, and of course, it is easy to learn if there is social interactions and communication towards the educator and the learner. Learning can be enhanced when the learner has an opportunity to interact and to collaborate with the others on instructional tasks. As we know, communication is very powerful that help us to exchange our ideas and insights. And I believe that each one of us have insights and ideas that does not know by the others and vice versa. So the role of interaction and collaboration with the others is for us to have the opportunity to share our insights and ideas to enhance our learning. Learning setting that allows for social interaction and the respect diversity encourage flexible thinking and social competence. In this area, the main point of this is that having an environment that allows and support interactions or social interactions and having diversity that respect opinion, valuing your insight, and expounding ideas can encourage learners' thinking and competence. Quality personal relationships that provide stability, trust, and caring can increase learners' sense of belonging, self-respect, and self-acceptance, and provide a positive climate for learning. By the time that a social develop or social interaction occurred, there is a personal relationship between educator to learner and learner to educator. Having this quality personal relationship can provide stability, trust, and caring that will lead to a positive environment of learning. Positive learning climates can also help to establish the context of healthier level of thinking, feeling, and behaving. And lastly, when we say social, we may also consider the negative sides of it. But above to all of the negative sides, we should find a way to have positive learning climates. For this help to have healthier level of thinking, feeling, and behaving, wherein the learner have the ability and capability to answer freely and without hesitations. By these exercises, there is a high positive factors that the learner will actively participate on learning process. Last question, how does social interaction influences the learning of the learner? You can now send your answer using VM or text messaging on this GC before ending this discussion. But that's all of my report. Thank you for your time and your participation on this video reporting. Again, I am Omar Arenas from BSED 2C, signing off.